We have received quite a few interesting questions in the chat and the Q&A tool. I will perhaps start with specific questions addressed to one, specifically one of you, and then turn into some kind of a panel discussion among you all with more transversal subjects. So there was a question for Tim. So you mentioned that you pay the vendor for each face model. How does that work? Is it the vendor's responsibility to create the models, or are you creating the models and you get charged for it afterwards?
Yes, first of all, it's correctly paid the vendor about €1 per face model. I think that based on the prediction that we would need about 1,000 till 3,000 per year to keep up with the same accuracy and recall. Since we use the suggestion face model suggestion tool, it's our responsibility to say which face model should be in the database, and technically it's their responsibility to create it based on the images that are either before it was scraped via Google, I think, and nowadays it's based on the recognition in the archive itself. Also old face models are updated with new recognized frames that have a very high confidence score. So that's how it goes in practice. So.
And do you see that that model as sustainable in the long run? This licensing model
and yeah, no, if you take into account that I would love to have our whole archive processed, you would need a giant face model database, and I think we have to shop at INA for that. Yeah, this service was designed on daily ingest, and it's applied on our broadcaster archive directly used by our users. So in that sense, it's a bit different than use cases in which archivists use this kind of tools internally. But to answer your question, no, we have to think about other big scale solutions.
Okay, thank you. That's a very interesting question to think for the future, indeed. Now turning to Thomas, there was a very specific question, but I guess it was a question that came up probably for everyone, and Pietro and Tim answered it somehow. How is the Trombino application connected to the legacy catalog at INA?
No, I'm not sure I see what is the legacy catalog. So, but no, it's not connected to. It's not connected to this. So it is connected to the thesaurus of INA, and also for the. But this is through the thesaurus. Also, it's connected. We get for each person we have the Wikidata ID. Okay, but this is because we already have it in the thesaurus, and that's it. But we're not using any other external existing database.
And is the metadata generated by Trombino fed into the other main databases at INA?
At the moment, not exactly, because what you've seen, this is. At the moment, this is mostly for demos, mostly, but it's also it's being used a bit by the archivist, but it's mostly to get feedbacks and before using it full scale. But for example, you cannot create a new identity, the page for a new person, because we get the information, but we cannot feed it back, if you see what I mean. So that will come, but for now that's not the case.
Okay, thank you. And specific question now for Pietro. It's very specific and very technical. There is an intersection to be made with face-based speaker identification and also sound-based speaker segmentation. But you mentioned that you would use it. Do you intend to use the models in parallel, or is one going to feed the other? Is that something you've thought about?
Well, no, it will run in parallel. There is no interaction between the two tools in the database in the database of the people profile. We will combine, not combine, but add the face profile and the voice profile. But no, there is no combination interaction between the two. Perhaps it could be in the future, perhaps, for example, to help to create, because the difficulty is to create the speaker profile. It's with as Thomas showed us, it's from a picture, it's quite easy because we can scrap the web, we can add photo. For the voice, we have to take the voice segment voice to create this profile. It's not a visible task. So perhaps we will use the facial recognition to detect to extract then the sound of the voice of the people of the person, and then create the profile with that. But I'm not sure I respond to the question, but feel free, Jean-Christophe, to contact me and with further question on that.
Thank you, Pietro. There was also a question for you, Pietro, because you're further down the production, putting the system into production than anyone else here. And what is the ratio of documentalists doing the annotation before you use the automatic face identification compared to the number of people working now on the training and checking of the AI? And side question, what happened to the others?
It's a difficult question. We don't stop completely the description, the manual description of the picture, but it's the documentarists make really a selection of what must be described in order to enhance the searchability of this material. But it's a difficult question. It's a long work to move to make this job moving, and we are setting up a new training session this month for documentalists to manage the people profile for the facial recognition, because someone didn't do nothing for 2-3 years. But now, as I mentioned in the presentation, the usability of the facial recognition become more and more present, and so documentalists are now asking us, show me how it works, because I want to add a profile to enhance the quality of the result. So I don't have numbers, but for that I don't have an exact ratio. But I'm in charge of the data management at the data and archive service. And my job is to find people to do this data management. But no, in fact, I didn't speak about that, but the data archive, it's doing a lot of activity. It has been a very huge development this past years in terms of promoting, giving visibility to the archive. So there is a lot of documentalists now are working for the valorization of all this legacy. So there is quite no more documentalists to do this manual description. So hopefully there is tools today that help us in that way.
Do it. Thank you. A question for everyone. See, fishing for a question. Somebody asked, what is the best free facial recognition software that we can use for indexing picture? Because not all institutions have the same kind of budgets as you guys might have. So do you know about free facial recognition software and how are they usable? Any of you?
That sounds like 2 questions, maybe. I mean, I don't know if the person is looking for something end-to-end, which is both extracting the facial feature descriptors and indexing them. But for example, what we're using, we have our model that we trained. Okay, so maybe I mean, there are also already existing models that someone could find and use for free to get features face descriptors. But the indexing part, so I think that's something else. And here in Trombinos, we are using the face, so which is the feature vector indexing solution that is provided by Facebook and by Meta. That's something that's free, and that's what we use because it's easy with this to do like nearest neighbor search or similarity search in a database of our scale. So I don't know if that answers the questions, but
anyone else has suggestions?
Well, perhaps as like Thomas, we use also the face model to make the comparison. Before that, we used the FaceNet algorithm to retrieve to extract the feature. What I can say, I don't know what you see. There is we find every day biases in the result. We have to the level we put, as Tim says, the level quite high in order to avoid the false positive. So what I can say here is that I come to join to the ABU benchmark AI group because in this group there will be an evaluation of the system, of the state-of-the-art system of facial recognition in order to see. Well, it's only with benchmarking that we can answer the performance of the system. So we are waiting. For me as end user, I'm waiting for this result of benchmark to find something.
Thank you. Tim, a word?
Yeah. I don't have a suggestion of free tools. I do have an addition though. That whatever free tools you would find, the paradox always is a bit that you need to know who you want to identify first. So that in a sense will always cost also some manual efforts to create your face model database and to name these persons that you want to recognize. And yeah, often you of course want to recognize all kinds of persons in a data set that is not annotated at all. So there's the difficulty.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of such, I see two evolving things. There's the technology of the face recognition system is evolving and getting better, and your models, the number of models that you have in your collections is also evolving and getting richer. So do you intend to re-index the video content and at some point going back to reprocess everything, or are you storing the vector analysis for every face that is seen so it can be reconnected with an identity? That's a question for everyone.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Thomas?
Okay. Yes. So I think like the others, so we got to the point where we realized the limits of our system when we are dealing with non-white faces and other faces. So we ended working on training a new model and or finding a new model which is less biased in this matter. Yes, then we will index again the vectors. But for this, we are waiting to get a model that will show that we will be able to keep for some time, because it will take some time to run the feature extraction again, and then to index them in a new index. So that's the plan. But we want to be sure before we move on a new model.
Thank you. Pietro?
Yes, from our side, we already run all the video in the pipeline. So we have all the feature on this video, and now the job is to create the label to index the database. It's we are setting up a new architecture, and when we finish that, I hope this summer, we can run this thing, but effectively, but perhaps the next year in 2 years later, we have a new algorithm, and we have to analyze again all these materials. I think that's inevitable.
Thank you, Pietro. Tim?
Yeah, to the question, if we store the vectors, etc., of unidentified persons, to certain extents, only for the suggestion tool to create a model within, let's say, 6 months of storing this potential models, and to rerunning the service on all data. Yeah, again, I would love to do that, and I would love to run it on the archive over and over again. But as we have to paper models, we also paper hour of analyzed content, so it's costly. And we do reanalyze all data if there are projects around a certain title that could benefit from better data. Then we do it in small chunks, but big solutions would be very welcome. For speaker labeling, we do it a bit more, by the way, because we made a better deal on the amount of hours that we can process.
Thank you, Tim, for sharing openly. One last question. I want to thank everyone for all the very interesting question. I think this was a very good question to close on. It's a question about the experiences that you've made, and getting further on what Pietro already talked about. What kind of skill sets are needed in data management roles if you compare to the skill set of the typical documentalists or archivists, and how do you foresee the organization of managing the models, curating for which faces have to be in the system and such? It's a big question.
Right. Interesting, very interesting question. It's we are at the core of the debate. Tomorrow we are beginning so the internally workshop on this question on how to do the evolution of the profession of documentalists. what I can say now, it's what I see. It's more well, we need some technical skills to manage that. Also to access API, to can handle a large amount of data, and to play with this data, to tell story, to well, it's less an archivist point of view and more a technical point of view, but only my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Pietro. Thomas or Tim?
Yeah, I think it depends as well on the question if you develop all these kinds of technologies in-house or not. At Sound and Vision, we don't for the archive part, but we do for the more research part of the archive. So I would say that if you don't develop it in-house, I think you need also more people that are more focused on the user side of it and the UX especially. So that's also a special skill. And yeah, and at Sound and Vision, the traditional documentalist moved over more to curation and what to do with this kind of data that helps you curate stories that you can get out of your data.
Thank you, Tim. Thomas?
Yes, it's probably two kind of skill sets. So there's, as said, Pietro, the technical side with to get the right models and to know how to use them, and then as for the archivist side, so yeah, that changes the way the archivist works probably. So because it's indeed more curating, and so both probably needs to go together to make the works of the archivist easier and not too boring and repetitive by finding, interesting tasks to propose to the archivist, which will be the final user of the model. So that's an interesting question, but I don't have a definitive answer with that.
Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, everyone. And I will perhaps hand the floor to Elena for closing words.
Sure. We have a minute, so I just want to say a very big thanks to everyone who has presented here. For those of you who have stayed around and participated in the question and answer, please do join us for the last two sessions we have. The information is in the chat and up on the website. We have some nominations for awards open, but let's continue the conversation. Hope to see you at the next two sessions, and a big thank you to everyone here.